It's really difficult to head down the highway, right, and not come into the oncoming traffic if you're staring in the revision mirror.
Yeah.
You need to be looking at the windscreen for where you're going. And I've spent a lot of my life looking in that revision mirror, and there's been some head-on collisions, So I won't shut the door on the past, but I won't let it define me, Ron, moving forward.
I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Morning, everybody. Ron here from The Truth About Addiction. Welcome to another session, another chat. Today I've got a special guest, a friend of mine, Scotty B. Scotty's got a unique story. I'm very proud and grateful to have Scotty come on and share his experience, strength and hope with us, and maybe somebody can get something out of it, and I hope we all can get something out of it. So, Scotty, welcome to The Truth About Addiction, mate.
Thanks, Ron. Absolute pleasure to be here, mate. It's it's fantastic to be up and about, to be clear-headed, and just have a really good open conversation, mate. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity, pal.
Mate, the simple thing I usually say to people is, tell us your story. We don't really care about the war story so much, but it's part of our story, so we have to tell it. And then what we talk about is our recovery, because that's the stuff that I'm interested in. That's the stuff that I care about. I want people to hear that we can recover.
100%, mate, 100%. So the short version, the snapshot, a Tassie boy, born and bred, born into a family with lots of addiction attached. Really humble to say that, I'm the son of an alcoholic that just recently celebrated 38 years of sobriety. Brother of an alcoholic. Proud to be sitting here saying that he's just ticked over 6 years of sobriety, and that I played a small part in helping him back when he was in the grips of his disease. Myself, obviously, being here and discussing my story, and I don't know, Ronnie. As a kid, I kind of felt just a little bit like a square peg in a round hole. I never really fit in. There was something just not right. I was always a little bit, I don't know, just irritable, just didn't fit. Couldn't really find my way. Had a huge amount of anger and resentment as a young man, turning into from a young man turning into a man. Really had some built up aggression towards my dad, not knowing and understanding what he was going through as a young fella. So I was a very aggressive young kid. Played up a bit of an attention seeker, always looking for a laugh or always looking to get into trouble. And I now know that's because I was just seeking the attention that I wasn't getting elsewhere. Always worked hard, played hard, but I don't know, I played pretty hard, and I was always in strife, but it just seemed everyone around me was kind of cleaning up their act, and mine was continually getting worse, if that makes sense. So, I was fortunate because I got a piece of a 12-step program as a young man. So it was planted. The seed was always there. I always felt inside that something wasn't right. And I could see that my dad was coming out the other end, and, he was disappearing 3 nights a week, and he was going somewhere, and he was changing the group of people, and he was starting to read literature, and he was going away and doing conferences. And I didn't understand it, but I could see he was changing, he was changing. He was looking healthy and fit, and he was present. So I had that seed planted. I got married relatively young. I had my first relatively young and had responsibility as a young man. And I was fortunate, Ron, to be able to have that seed grow some roots, and I was able to remain my drug of choice for a long period of time, But there was something still probably not right, and I haven't been able to figure that out until just recently. So look, I was living and doing the next right thing, but again, there was just something that was inside of me that still wasn't right, even after the length of time I had away from my drug of choice. And I guess I came to a perfect storm in my life, Ron. I was diagnosed with cancer. I was in a high pressure job. My marriage was not bells and whistles, to say the least. And I blamed that for the reason that I actually went back and turned my will back over to me, and basically at the end of the day had a relapse. I now know that those 3 things weren't the reason. I can go into that at a later time through this podcast, but For me, this is a progressive illness, and I picked up exactly where I left off many, many years previously. And without going into the ins and outs of it, around about 9.5 months ago, I was in a very, very dark place. I didn't think there was any hope. I wasn't listening. I couldn't get through the day without medicating in any way, shape, or form. The pain that I was in, I needed to medicate, and I was medicating very hard. It took me to a really dark place. So I guess I'm fortunate because, I've got a brother that loves me unconditionally, that's got the same condition that I've got. And there was a family intervention and ended up in a detox in a rehab facility in Queensland and have remained clean and sober since. So, where I'm at today and what I'm doing for my recovery is vital. It's just absolutely vital. And that missing piece of the puzzle, I think I've been able to find out exactly what that was. So, to be here, to be above ground, not below ground, to be talking to you today, and to be sharing my experience and strength. How good's life? To be honest with you, how good's life?
Yeah, cool. What was your drug of choice,
mate? I'm a good old fashioned specialist, mate. I'm a grog. I'm an alcohol, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
The insidious, socially acceptable, legal poison that's got nothing good about it whatsoever.
100%.
No medical, unless you rub it on the outside to kill the germs,
Yep.
benefits whatsoever. No mental, emotional, physical attributes at all, except for destruction, depression, and misery. And we are allowed to drink it because we can be taxed on it.
100%. And it's interesting, Ron. I've resurrected my career in Queensland now, and I'm in my office here. Between here and where I reside, I think I counted 15 bottle shops. I'm actually trying to do as much as I can for my physical health. So I'm on a push bike each morning and each evening, and there's 15 bottle shops that I've got to pass between here and my journey home. It's everywhere. So that was my drug of choice, mate. Absolutely, categorically. I'm not saying that drugs didn't play a part. Prescription drugs definitely played a part coming out of the end of the cancer. I can share a story with you. Once you've been through something like that, they want to make you feel as comfortable as you can, as they should. But I remember being in the ICU unit, and the nurse would say, Scotty, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your pain today, mate? When I first came out, Ron, legitimately, it was 11, mate. Like I was hurting, Day 4, day 5, traditionally that should have come back to a 4 or a 5, and it did come back to a 4 and a 5. But my thinking blatantly lied and told the person, no, God, she's still up to a 10 and 11. So, being brutally honest is part of my program. So to say that drugs aren't part of the story would be a lie. But my drug of choice was alcohol. That was my go-to category.
Yeah. My personal experience with alcohol, and people can't even believe it when I say it. I went to heroin from alcohol because heroin was more manageable. Worked that one out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Worked that one out.
Absolutely.
I was more manageable on heroin than I ever was on alcohol.
Yep.
Because in alcohol, I drank the blackout.
Yep. And
anyone who's been afflicted with this horrible, whatever you want to call it, you can call it disease, you can call it affliction, you can call it allergy. I don't give a rat's ass about names. I care about the product of the process, and what the end process was for me was that I realised that I was allergic to chemicals, and that I would abuse anything that would change the way I felt.
Mm.
And then what we had to do is work out, what did I feel so bad about?
Mm. Yeah.
And I felt bad about everything. I actually didn't feel like you said the square peg in the round hole. I remember as a kid, 13 years of age, laying in my bedroom thinking, the storks dropped me off at the wrong fucking joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They dropped me off at the wrong joint. I'm not. Yeah. This is not my beautiful house. This is not my family. This is not my life. This is not my world. This is not my my universe. I just didn't think I fit in. Something was missing.
Mm.
And that something was self. And I was always trying to hide from myself, but I didn't know who myself was.
Mm.
And for me, I'm a 12-step program person. Do I believe it's the only way? No. But I believe it's the only way for me? Yes.
Yeah.
Have I tried other things? Yeah. Have I remained clean? Yeah. Was I happy and content? No.
Mm.
I was fucking mad.
Mm.
I need structure.
Mm.
I need direction.
Mm.
I need connection.
Mm.
I need consistency.
Mm.
Those 8 demands that I talk about all the time, those crazy 8 demands, I live by them in everything I do, and they give me a successful, fulfilling, content life. And I say to everybody that's an alcoholic or an addict or whatever it is, a chemical abuser, if you don't make your life better than using, you'll go back to using.
Mm.
So we have to make our life better. And how do I make my life better? By helping other people.
Mm. And that's so interesting that you that's the last point that you raised there, because I guess when I was doing that little snapshot, Ron, and this was a big moment for me, and I'll probably get emotional actually when I talk about it, but a big moment for me this time round was, my head told me that the reason that I started medicating again, that I picked up again, that I busted, was the job, that it was the cancer scare, that it was the relationship, which I'm responsible for, because a lie would absolutely categorically be my default when the truth would do. So I need to take responsibility with regards to that. But I blamed all these things for why I actually went down that road again. And I thought that was the reason for a long time, but I guess, a detox facility, a rehab facility, strong sponsorship, working the program has made it really clear for me. And it, like I said, defining at an emotional point, it wasn't the cancer, and it wasn't the relationship, and it wasn't the job and the title and the pressure. It was because, I'm a 12-step program person as well. And I drifted away from it. I drifted away from it. I took my will and my life back over. I didn't do what was suggested. I stopped. I didn't consciously do it. It was just so subtle that it crept up on me and it tapped me on the shoulder, and before I knew it, the 5 suggested things that people were referred to had fallen by the wayside. Did it happen straight away? No. Was it subtle? Yes. Some of the terminology, cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it is, and it was, and that's my experience. And that moment was defining for the fact of, I took it back over. I tried to control that key word. I came back into my vocabulary, where for a long time it wasn't there, and I was living in giving. And the moment that happened to me, it was just, I guess, a matter of time. So for me, sitting here today, working that program and just wanting to spend the rest of my life trying to help other people is the ethos. It is how I'm feeling. It's truth. It's the truth. And that's where I need to stay, and that's where I want to stay.
Yeah, it's quite ironic because I grew up on the other side of the law and of society, and we used to call do-gooders. That's what we used to call people. Oh, he's a fucking do-gooder. Bible bash. He's a do-gooder. And the thing that you're doing good for is yourself.
Mm.
I do good because it does good for me.
Mm.
When I used to do shit, and I used to wonder why I ended up in prison or ended up full of fear, regret, anger, resentment, and blame. When you write down all those words and you look at it, you think, fuck, that's a loser. That's a loser. You know what I mean? Like, someone who blames somebody else for everything is a loser.
Mm.
When you take responsibility and go, yeah, okay, I made that mistake, it takes a lot of courage. And I've never heard of anyone being called a loser who's courageous.
Mm.
You don't hear of heroes being called losers.
Yeah, exactly right, mate.
You don't hear if he was a loser. Yeah, he fucking saved all these people, or he did all this, or he done all that good stuff. He's a loser. And even as a bad guy, and even in active addiction, when I went and seen the movies and I seen Superman or somebody, I didn't think, he's a loser. Fucking, he was a hero.
Mm.
And they were do-gooders.
Yeah.
And when I say do good, I mean they were helping society, because we have a major role as a human being, as a man, to do certain things in our life. And I think, for me, I had no tools to do those things that I thought were courageous.
Yep.
So I did things that I thought were tough.
Yep.
So I was confused between courage and toughness, and respect and fear.
100%.
There were two things I was really confused. I thought people respected me. They didn't respect me. They feared me. In fact, they didn't like me. Behind my back, they didn't like me, So for me, recovery was about learning a whole new vocabulary of what words really meant and what concepts really meant. My concept of male has changed so much now, because I got with a gangster father and they shot people and I shot people and all that fucking boring stuff. And today, a man's putting food on the table for his children and getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's freezing cold, driving his ass to work in an hour in traffic. He's my fucking hero.
Yeah.
He's the man. He's the gangster.
Yep.
That guy's the gangster. That guy's, not the guy that gets up at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, because he's been on the piss all night or out with the whores while his missus has been home minding the kids.
Yep.
Because that was me.
Yep.
I was the guy that was out with the boys, at the nightclubs and blah, 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 and then get home in the, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. The kids would get up in the morning with her, shut up, fucking keep it down, I'm trying to sleep. That bullshit concept of a male was unsustainable, because it's like any fantasy.
It's funny you should say that, because, I don't know, coming out of the fog and doing what I'm doing, so many things from the past just keep bubbling to the surface, and I don't mind that today. It used to terrify me, Ron, to be frank. It used to terrify me. But now, I don't know, as they're bubbling to the surface, I can see my part in it. I can see that my thinking, my thinking was the issue. It was a, pre-perceived perception, exactly what you're talking about. You just said yourself, looking up to that gangster, thinking that people were, thought that you were tough, and you said, that they didn't actually like you, I would be exactly the same. I would have the kids, or whether it be the grandkids, and it was an inconvenience to give them my time, because I had other things that needed to be done, instead of being present in that moment, having a look at their facial expressions, understanding exactly what it is that a father or a poppy or a husband, needs to be to actually have what it is that you're alluding to in our lives. And, I don't believe, Ron, that I can only speak for me. I don't believe that I have ever woken up, the alarm's gone off, and I've had a premeditated thought that I'm going to hurt somebody today. I don't believe that for me. However, if I'm in that grips, if I'm in that mindset, if I'm up here, then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are. And if you're standing in my way, if you're blocking me to be able to block me from me being able to medicate, unfortunately, there's going to be some casualties through that process. And that's me. Do you know what I mean? That's who I am. I can't speak for other people, or I can't speak for people that are watching your podcasts. I just know that if that's how I'm living my life, that I'm going to do some damage to the people that I truly love, and that's insidious. That's part of this that's, really, really unfortunate, is that, the casualties that people like me we take along the way,
Yeah.
And what can I do? One of the things that I've been really diligent about is, one little comment that I say to myself every morning, I won't regret the past, but I won't let it define me. I can't let it define me. It's another little saying. It might have even been you, Ron, that said this to me. I'm not sure where they come from sometimes, but some things stick, It's really difficult to head down the highway, right, and not come into the oncoming traffic if you're staring in the revision mirror.
Yeah.
You need to be looking at the windscreen for where you're going, what you're doing. And I've spent a lot of my life looking in that revision mirror, and there's been some head-on collisions, So I won't shut the door on the past, but I won't let it define me, Ron, moving forward.
There's a reason the windscreen's so big and the rear view's so small.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
A big reason, trust me.
But I'm a slow learner. It's I'm a slow learner, So I guess it's just people used to say, even back in the early days when I first got a little bit of time up, that the life that we can live and how we can actually be is just beyond our wildest dreams. And although I've still got wreckage of the past that needs responsibility taken for it, and I've still got life that happens on a regular basis, I've never felt the way that I feel today. I've never felt a freedom, just the little things, and they still do my head in, mate. I'm sure you're going to understand, but just a sunrise, a sunset, a smell, enjoying music again, just things that have been taken for granted of, and I've just been numb for such a long period of time, and slowly but surely it's all coming back into my life. It's exciting. It's exciting, Ron. Yeah.
That's a good word, exciting, because that's what recovery is for me.
Yeah.
Recovery is exciting, and recovery is a new day every day, like I just come back from being down in a place called Glen Innes, which is such a beautiful. I camp on a river. I'm in a swag. I'm with my nephew. My nephew's 54 years of age. His father and I used to hunt together.
Yeah, right, nice.
Now his father's passed away, died of alcoholism.
Yeah.
My nephew's now 4 years sober.
Yep.
I took him away on a hunting trip to Darwin. I made him detox. Didn't make him, but yeah, he detoxed and he's been clean for 4 years now. And we're there and we're surrounded by these incredible granite mountains, and we're deer hunting, and we only hunt for food. We only take what we need to eat, and we hunt and we fish and we catch some maricod, and we shot some goats and shot some deer, and we hunt with bow and arrow, which makes it a lot more fun. When you say fun, it's a lot harder.
Absolutely.
You have to stalk, you have to, and I wouldn't do that if I was drinking.
No.
I'd go to the butcher shop and buy some venison.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably wouldn't even treat myself that much, because it'd be too much hard work and too expensive. I just go somewhere and buy some takeaway and go home and get drunk.
Yeah.
And today we harvest most of what we eat. We grow our own vegetables at home. My wife grows all her own spices, and we appreciate what we have. And yet today we have an abundance of everything you could ever choose to have. There's nothing in my life that I don't have today.
Yeah.
Because I have freedom, freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Freedom of self-expression, self-worth. And I always say, when I start bringing I into my conversation, I'm very close to injection or intravenous.
Yeah.
Because I say there's no I in we.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of intravenous injections in an I.
Well, I don't know, maybe I'm starting to come up with my own sayings, Ron. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. But, I share regularly, if I'm driving the bus, it's a head-on collision. It's just a matter of time. You know,
Yeah.
if there's someone else driving that bus, you know, I'm a chance to go to that destination. You know, so it's taken a long time and a lot of pain and a lot of wreckage to be able to identify that. And you know, for me, Ron, I'm just totally committed to be able to just do that next right thing and to help educate, to help talk to people, to have my back doors closed, put myself out there to the best of my ability to be able to do the next right thing, you know. And for me, I think that's what was missing first time round. Not always. I'm probably being a little bit hard on myself then. I used to do a fair bit, but like I said, it dropped away, and I want it to be part of my daily routine now moving forward. You know, and it's an amazing feeling, Ron. You know, it's an amazing feeling. And you know, there's been a couple of things. You know, you mentioned at the beginning about what people are doing to, I guess, remain in that recovery. You know, what are we doing? What sharing that with people? You know, I'm a bit of an AFL tragic, Ron. I love the game, mate. Sorry, I know you're probably an NRL guy, but
I'm Victorian.
Yeah, I know. I was throwing it out there. You know, I'm a tragic. I love the game. You know, and in active, it was taken away from me. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it, but it was taken away from me, and I was coaching, and I loved it. And it was taken away from me, rightly so. You know, and you know, I'm doing that again now. It's been put back into my life. And I've had the opportunity, Ron, a couple of times to, talk to a group of people and do nothing other than just to tell my story. And just that stigma that's attached. And, you know, the results have just been phenomenal, you know, and it's led to me being passionate and doing something and setting something up for what I need to do for my recovery. So, you know, one of the things that I'm really passionate and driven to do, and it was, you know, it's been on the back of being involved again with regards to clubs and teams and that environment where we pull each other up, we don't pull each other down, you know, that type of thinking from a sporting analogy through to a living analogy. And it's just been so empowering, Ron, to be honest with you. And I'm not doing anything other than just telling my story and being brutally honest. And what's come of that has just been, you know, phone calls, or someone will come and have a chat with you and you can elaborate a little bit more with regards to your story. And it's making a difference. And I'm so driven because of the stigma that's attached. And I'll just share this with you. You know, going and having that awful experience with regards to cancer, you know, when that diagnosis after that biopsy was done, and I knew what fight I had on my hands, when I shared that with family, friends, colleagues, every single person wanted to get around me, Ron. Every single person wanted to pull me up, pat me on the back. There, Scotty, it's going to be okay, mate. You know, we're here for you. We're going to work. We're going to do whatever we need to do to help and support you through this process, you know. And that was beautiful. What a fantastic feeling to know that you're loved and you're supported when something like that's put into your life, you know. And I guess where I'm going with this is that, you know, when people identified or when people have been involved with me and it's come to light that, you know, I'm a recovering alcoholic. You know, I have a problem with alcohol, and when I start, I can't guarantee my behaviour. The stigma that's attached to that, the look that you get, is something that, you know, it's not a nice thing to experience. You're not well again, the same as the cancer. It's just that what we do is sometimes, you know, undesirable, to say the least. But that's the stigma. You know, someone asked me just recently, Scotty, if you had to choose a lever, you know, if you had to choose a lever of which one of those two diseases that you wanted to pull moving forward, which one would it be? And I had to think long and hard about it, to be completely honest with you. But I can categorically tell you that at the end of the day, it's the one that you can see, feel, treat, and that's the cancer. You know, this daily fight with regards to being an addict and having an addiction that you can't see, you can't feel. It's there, and it is a daily struggle, and it's a tough one against obviously someone saying, hey, you've got cancer, this is what you need to do, and your chances are this. You know what that fight looks like because it's there and you can touch it and you can feel it. And that's pretty powerful, Ron. So any opportunity I get to smash that stigma that's attached to it is something that I passionately want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and I believe, I've been around for a little while, and I hate this disease with a passion.
Yeah.
And I still say to everybody, people go like, why are you still involved with 12-step programs? Why do you still go and have dinner with people that are very early in recovery and that? And I say, because I'm one drink away from being a drunk. They go, oh, but what? You're 38 years sober. I'm actually been sober longer than that, but 38 years completely clean. I haven't had a drink since 1982, and I haven't had a drug since 1986. And I know I'm one drink or one drug away from being a junkie and a drunk.
Yeah.
People don't quite understand that. They, unless you have this disease, affliction, allergy, whatever you want to call it, you don't understand that. You never will understand it.
Nope.
Go and ask Mike Tyson why he still punches the bag. Because it's something he's done his whole life. Go and ask Arnie Schwarzenegger, 70-something years of age, why he still press race. Because it's something he did all his life.
Yeah.
What did we do? We escaped through a chemical all our life.
Yep.
And now that we've stopped escaping, we have to find something to replace that obsessive compulsive behaviour that we have.
Yep.
Mine's carrying the message.
Yep.
And I believe by me carrying the message, I've been given the gift of freedom.
100%.
100%. 100%. There's no way in the wide world, I believe, everything I own today is a direct result of helping other people. And I believe my higher power, whoever it is, has catered for me, loved me, protected me, understand me, and has forgiven me. And for me not to love, understand, protect, and forgive myself would be completely arrogant, because it means that I'd be more important than my higher power.
Yep.
And I'm not.
Yep.
I don't believe that for 1 minute, but I believe that I'm a servant, not to religion or anything like that. I'm a servant to recovery. Whatever recovery may be. I have so many people contact me on a daily basis, giving me their gratitude list, talking about recovery, talking about relapses, talking about, upcoming conventions. And yet I have other companies, businesses that make money for me. I have a family, I have a wife, I have beautiful children. All this stuff's been created through my willingness to not pick up a drink or a drug one day at a time.
Yeah. How good is that, mate? How good is that?
And if I pick up a drink of a drug, Scott, it's all gone.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time.
It's funny, you say you're only, one drink or a drug out, I just get it. I just get it. And I understand your comment about people aren't going to get that,
Yeah.
I just do, I'll share with you, Ron, and I put myself out there just recently and told my story at an event at a sporting club and did nothing more than just tell my story. And there's some funny stuff in there too, mate, There's some tragic stuff in there. There's some funny stuff in there, but it came from here and it was honest. And one thing I've one thing I do every time I get invited to speak, I always put my number up. I don't know why I've done that, Ron, but I have. I've just put my number up. And at the end of the day, on the back of one of these chats, the phone rang at the wee hours of the morning. And it was somebody that had been and listened to my story. And they weren't in a good way, Ron, in any way, shape or form, But just to be on the other end of that phone, just to be able to listen and relate and not do anything other than just tell a little bit more of my story. because that's what my program tells me to do, to share that experience, strength,
Yep.
to be able to relate, to be able to just demonstrate you're not alone. You're not alone. I get how you feel,
Yep.
And it's funny, Ron, what you put out there, it comes back. It really does. I've never believed that before, but it does, and that phone call and that conversation, and there's been many more that have followed, and that sticks with me. That sticks with me, and it means everything to me these days. Yeah, it's hard to really put into words. It's just empowering. I don't understand how that works, but I know it does, and I truly believe that it is. It must. It's a must. It's got to be something that I practice every day. Like you said a minute ago. Mike Tyson hitting the bag, Arnie Schwarzenegger pumping out the iron. I don't know if it was you again, but someone said to me, the analogy of the boxer.
Mm-hmm.
The boxer starts boxing when he's 10. He throws the right a certain way. He wins a Commonwealth. He wins a Commonwealth medal. His father's been his coach his whole life, and he wants to go to the Olympics. And unfortunately, his father is involved in a tragic accident. He's not there anymore. He has to get a new coach because he wants to fulfil that commitment that he made to himself and his dad. His new coach says on day one, you need to throw the right hook differently if you want to win this Olympic medal, mate. And the guy says, yeah, no worries. Look, I'm committed. No problem. Show me how you want me to throw it. And he shows him, and he jumps in the ring for his first training session. Do you honestly think that he's going to throw it any differently than he's been doing for all that time, because it's a reflex and a default setting, But the coach pulls him up time and time again, and eventually gets it right and goes on and wins that medal. He was willing to be open for change. He was willing to be teachable. He's willing to understand that he has to change. That story is so powerful for me. I didn't think anything or anyone could ever change Scotty. Scotty is it. There's no other options other than me. I am it.
Yeah.
And now I want to live my life. I'm not it.
Mm.
Yeah.
As I've had the same spiritual advisor for 38 years. And, I ring him still today and run shit past him. 38 years later, people say, what, you don't trust your own thinking? I said, yeah, I do. But what if I made a mistake? The consequences are so mad.
Yeah.
The mistake for me could mean my life.
Mm.
So I don't gamble. I don't run on that defect of character. I don't gamble. I don't drink. I don't drive. There's lots of things that I don't do. Anything that I can find can be addictive, I avoid. People laugh when I say to them, I made a comment once on social media. I like social media to help people. I don't like social media for all the trolls. So I wrote down once, I'm addicted to helping people. And some smart ass remark was said, yeah, you've never hung out from helping people. How can you even think it's the same thing as addiction? And I didn't even comment, mate. I dropped off 120 mil of methadone. Don't tell me about withdrawals, dickhead. I spent 17 years in prison. Don't tell me about fucking isolation. Read the book before you start bagging and wanting to complain. But it was his bitterness and it was his craziness. But just the ironic remark was like, how can you talk about addiction if you think you're addicted to helping people? You don't shit your pants fucking not helping people. And it was just such a negative. I don't even participate in any of that conversation because I believe if I argue with an idiot, we end up with two idiots arguing. You know what I mean? So
all the gear and no idea, right? All the
yeah,
gear and
yeah.
no
So
idea. Yeah.
that was my experience, and then I had to change my attitude towards social media because that one incident affected me so much that I wanted to respond to it.
Mm.
And I thought, well, you're not having that much power over me, you dickhead.
Yeah.
And then I just gone back to this doing what I do because I do this, what we're doing right now, when I'm not sponsored. It's my time. My wife edits it. It's her time. It costs me to have social media to do this through Riverside. It costs us money, but it's not about money. This has never been about money.
No.
Recovery is not about money. If you're doing recovery for a financial gain, you're doing business.
Yep.
And I say to you, if I'm giving you a lift to the meeting because you're a carpenter and I need some chippy work done on the weekend, I'm not doing service. I'm doing business.
Yeah.
So I've got to do it with an open heart and an open mind, you know.
Yeah.
So these days you're working again. You're back into the coaching.
Yeah, mate. Look, to be honest with you, I'm still pinching myself. I'm back working. I've taken on an executive role with a fantastic organisation that makes a difference in people's lives, and that was important to me.
Yep.
I've been in businesses performing well sometimes and not so well in other ones due to my obvious circumstances, but it's always been about the bottom line. This time around, of course, it still needs to be about the bottom line. We still need to pay bills, but this is a job and a career change for me where I leave each day and I know that what I'm doing is actually having a flow-on effect in people's lives.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm really excited about that. The other thing too is, I've alluded to it a couple of times. I don't know, it was a light bulb moment with regards to my ability to communicate, capture an audience. I've done that in business. I've done that in sport. And I'm now doing that in recovery. So I've got a little platform. It's called Experience Strength. There's no ulterior motive than anything other than sharing my story and hopefully being able to do the best I possibly can to try and smash the stigma that's attached to this disease.
Yep.
That is the whole reason for it. Nothing else is prevalent except for those two things. I'm back coaching up here in Queensland. I am so lucky, Ron. I'm with a club that is in a certain division at the moment and has a license to go to the next level next year. So this year is all about education. It's all about raising standards. It's all about coaching and mentoring and getting a fantastic group of young women ready to take the next step into the next division next year. And I'm very, very, very blessed. The club that I'm with, they're so professional. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to learn from their senior coach. So I'm actually the line coach in charge of the defensive players. And I'm learning so much. I've been back to uni with regards to getting my qualification, the level 2 accreditation for AFL coaching, and working diligently behind the scenes on that as well. But the most important thing, mate, is my meetings, is to try and talk to as many people, to educate people, to share my experience and strength. And that's what I'm all about. And I could not, in my wildest dreams, Ron, 9 months ago, say that I could be sitting here with you, clean, sober, present, honest, a business owner. I've always wanted my own business, always. And I've never, ever been able to because fears stopped me. And now I'm a business owner. I'm sitting here now as a senior executive for a great organisation with the opportunities to do good. I keep pinching myself, mate, and it's just exciting, and it's only because I just want to do the next right thing, and I just want to be honest, and I just want to do what I can possibly do to never default back and take Scotty back.
Yep.
And
it's a wonderful thing, mate.
It's exciting, mate. Yeah.
As I say, mate, I'm sitting in my office, I'm looking across here, I've got a poster on my wall over there. Glenn Archer sent it to me.
Yep.
He played a bit of football, that guy.
The shin boner of the century. I reckon he could get a bit of a tick, Ron.
He's got written on it to Ronnie, thank you for saving so many lives. Love, Glenn Archer. It's a nice little thing, it's the only one I have a sporting. There it is there. There it is there. That's
have a go at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And,
how good.
Yeah, Glenn and I became friends through me helping somebody that was close to him.
Yep.
And I took him on, a young fellow who's his godson.
Yep.
And he celebrated 2 years clean the other day.
Yeah, how good.
And he said to me, oh, you want to go to the footy? You want to go to the grand final? It was on my bucket list. I said, yeah. And he gave me his own tickets.
Yeah. How good.
to go and watch the grand final. The sad part was when Geelong played, and the year later Collingwood won the grand final, and I'm a Collingwood supporter. And he said to me, "Do you want tickets?" And I said, "Nah, I don't want tickets this
Come
year."
on, Ronnie, you can't be a Collingwood supporter, mate. You've got all your front teeth. You got every
Born and bred, mate. Born and bred. Born and bred. I'm a Fitzroy boy.
But look, interesting point, with regards to, let's keep the theme here, AFL. I was sitting somewhere just recently with a group, probably about 10 of us. I don't know how many people were addicts in this particular group. I'm not really interested in that. My point is that a well-known AFL player who's in a very public battle, who's now, from an outsider looking in, seems to be up and about with regards to his
recovery. The other day.
Yeah, well, there was one person that didn't judge, and there were 9 people that were judging. Now, I understand that. I get that. But I guess that's something that's driving me very, very hard, because that is what I'm talking about, the stigma that's actually attached. You mentioned social media before. Another predominant ex-AFL player just recently getting absolutely belted through social media. With my experience, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, but I'll share this opinion with you, Ron. This particular person that I'm speaking about just now has probably taken a bit of a backward step, and everyone's judging and pushing this person down. My way of thinking with, oh my God, we've got to get this guy. We've got to pull him up. We've got to pull him up. He needs help. And then it becomes such a massive organisation, the AFL. It's a big beast, and I think they do an amazing job with some of their programs that they've got, and their wellness programs and all these things. But I don't know, Ron. I just think that there's no better way than one addict and another addict helping another, sharing their experience, strength, and hope. It's tried and it's true like a recipe. And I think that that's a missing part that we've got. And I'm really driven, mate, to try and help that. I'm really driven to try and smash that stigma.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know how we go, because I've been doing this for quite a few years now with the AFL, trying to get into the AFL. And I actually contacted Glenn and another ex-coach the other week and said, this is ridiculous. Unless you start getting some help from people like us, you're not going to break through the stigma.
100%.
It's exactly the same thing, But, mate, look, lovely having you on The Truth About Addiction. I'm very grateful for your time, mate. And
grateful for you, buddy.
Stay safe, my friend. And as I said, you can only keep what you got by giving it away. So just keep giving it away, mate.
Absolutely.
Keep giving it away.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it, buddy.
I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.